I just started streaming just because I kind of want to talk about Battlefront 2, but I don't want to play Battlefront 2 right now. It's weird. I've been seeing a lot of Battlefront 2 videos pop up in my recommended feed lately. And a lot of it is like hero gameplay in the bigger modes. Which is interesting because, like, wow, I got a double kill for thermal detonator. That's trash. Way back in the day, you wouldn't see too many kill streak videos on this game because it was way harder to get, kill streaks of characters because of, certain factors. And when you did see, like, kill streak videos, it was usually, like, Bossk. It was either, like, it was usually the, like, two characters on each side. It was Luke Khan and Boba Bossk. You didn't see a lot of killstreak videos of Palpatine. You didn't see a lot of stuff like that. Like, right now, a lot of killstreak videos are usually made up of the Saber characters, because Saber characters in Battlefront 2 slaughter infantry. Whereas, shooters, you can slaughter infantry, but you have to be good at the game, for one. And you need a bit of team support to ensure that you don't get absolutely annihilated by Saber characters, because if you go against somebody who's really good with a Saber, you will get destroyed if you make, like, even the slightest... You could just not make mistakes and still get fucking destroyed by people. Are you... Okay, it looks like the Imperials are just gonna camp the hallway of this game, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of hit and run stuff with the windows.
Gotcha.
I really been liking the bigger modes for Battlefront 2. But usually when there isn't like some fucking lame-ass event going on. Because, like, I think the events kind of break the fucking game just a little bit. Because you're able, like, your early game looks way different when there's, like, reinforcement events and stuff. What the fuck? Okay. The early game is completely different. Because you don't have to worry about, farming as much for reinforcement, because the whole point of reinforcements, at least in my opinion, is that they kind of have an opportunity cost, in that you spend a good amount of points on a powerful soldier, basically, that has double the health of a normal infantry soldier, more powerful abilities and more powerful weapons. But it comes at the cost of you basically aren't going to be getting a hero until way later if you go for a reinforcement, but you have an edge in the early game because of that. So it's like, it's an opportunity cost. That's why I like it so much. Because this boss is not going to move. Jesus Christ, these fucking players are so strange. They do like really strange shit, like sit in this hallway because they're too scared to move. I'm just gonna kill this Emperor. Hope there is not an honor guard. I can kill you both, I think. Or if I get glitched, I guess. Even though I just killed the shitty Vader. But I really do like the bigger modes because there's a lot that you can do with pretty much the entire cast on each side. You can get a kill streak with everybody because everybody is like decent in their own way. Some characters are more niche, like Dooku is only really going to be doing good on certain maps, and you have to know how to play the game in order to play Dooku. But some characters, you pick them and then they just kind of autopilot themselves, usually. Like, you could be, being super good at Sabers helps, but I mean, if you're solo queuing, your skill with Sabers aren't going to matter. usually. If you go against like a party, you are not going to be able to push on a fucking party of 3 sabers. They're just going to fucking ignore you, kill your whole team, or you're just going to get stunned to death. Or all the soldiers are going to turn on you, and then you go to run away, and then you get move stacked. I also love that I have like a 9 in each rotation. That's awesome. I love having this piece of shit character in my rotation. Also, I'm streaming because I really haven't like streamed in a while. It really has been like a minute since I've streamed. I think I'm just gonna rag hunt this game. My aim's a little off because I haven't really played this too much. I haven't played any Battlefront game in a while. I haven't played Battlefront 2 in a good while either. Look at my aim. My aim is fucking dog shit. I just flashbanged myself. I'm playing it like shit. But, a lot of people like Battlefront 2 now. And honestly, I can't blame them. Battlefront 2 is definitely in a state where it is playable, whereas, like, you really can't come back and play this, honestly. This game is way more restrictive. This game is way more restrictive in terms of, like, who you can play on certain maps and stuff like that. There are just some players in Battlefront 2 who usually just play only 1 or 2 characters on each side, which is fine. On the bigger modes, I usually just kind of play everybody. Like, and I don't play the second game that often because it's my main group, which you guys know who my main group is. That's fucking bullshit. It took my flashbang that long to go off. It's also bullshit that there are skins that completely blend in the dark as well. I've been bitching about that for years now. I think that guy was still in that corner, I just didn't see him because of his skin. My sensitivity is 100, but it sure as fuck don't feel like 100 sensitivity. I think my issue with the second game, if I did have an issue, is the fact that you need to play it a fuck ton if you want to have fun. Like, I mean, kind of. The influx of new players is a double-edged sword. On the other hand, it means that you're going to go against people who are easier. But that also means that your teammates are going to be consistently terrible at the fucking game. And honestly, that is not worth having to deal with shit players all the time. It's just not fucking worth. Yeah. You know I can go through the window, dude? That is why I break the windows, because I don't want to deal with Vader's crap. There's a soldier in mid. I was about to say I don't want to kill them, because I don't want to deal with honor guards this game. Not really. You have to waste so much. 9 This is not how you play 9 You're also running towards me like a dick. Oh, thanks. Thankfully this Vader is fucking garbage. This 9's just running into everybody and then killing himself and then trying to run back away. I need to kill this fucking Vader now. Oh, for fuck's sake! Somebody put a turret behind me? Is that why I just got fucked so badly? Yeah, probably. I need to kill this Vader if I'm gonna go anywhere this fucking game. That's like half my fucking health, too. Oh, and there's an honor guard still alive. Lovely. Fucking lovely. He's not alive anymore, but I lost my whole health bar. This is power blasting, and it's Fucking idiot soldier. Almost dead. Now he's dead. Kind of paranoid because this is the state of the game where like a rocket launcher will just completely kill me.
I'm tired of these double dealing with materials.
I don't know where Emperor is. He's in this room with Get the fuck! Thankfully this boss is stupid. I'd say I was gonna mind game that, but I need to... Fuck off.
I'm not just a pretty face.
I think I had to kill pretty much all three of that game with Lando. That was kind of depressing. I think my biggest issue with the second game is how powerful Saber defense is. Like, I don't care what anybody says, playing defensively with Saber characters is so easy. And it's almost required, because they are ludicrously powerful defensively. I'd almost say that some characters are pretty much invincible defensively. I've brought this up several times before, but I've seen stuff like Darth Vader 1v1ing Obi-Wan Kenobi for several hours straight. Now, there are some things that kind of help with those kind of circumstances happening, and I think that's like the most extreme thing that can happen. And you can spend several hours on this game camping in a small room, but I mean, every time you scrim 2 campers versus 2 campers, it's going to be who pushes first. Much as Electronic T will try to defend it, I don't think there is any defending shit like that. Because Electronic T knows that he's not going to go up against anybody who is going to just waste his fucking time exclusively. And what I mean by that is, there were a group of players that I played with at some point, like early 2016. And what they would do versus people like Electronic T, it was probably the scummiest thing that you can do to people who play that way. And no one ever wanted to play them, any like defensive players, because they would just, you know, be complete and utter assholes. They would do this thing that if you were to sit in a certain spot for like a period of time, which meant like if you were rebels and you sat in the cave for more than 2 rounds, what they would do is that they would outcamp them, and then all the regulars would kill themselves. And then their villains would just run into a circle all game, so the rebels couldn't play. So even if the rebels did eventually start playing offensively, they wouldn't let them do it, because they decided to camp those 1 or 2 rounds. And I know this because I played, I would play a few private matches with them sometime. I wouldn't all the time, because I didn't really like doing it. Because usually, when we did do privates, it was usually them doing that to those people. And then those people wouldn't want to play them anymore, because, like, it would be 0-0, like, an hour and a half in, and then they would just be like, fuck this, we're not playing. Because they would just get their time completely wasted. And I kind of wish that my group had that sort of patience. Because that's trolling on a completely different level. Which is something I'd be down to do to him, honestly. Like, they would never do it because none of them are that patient. None of them are. And I think it's a level of troll. Like, when they troll, there needs to be some sort of engagement. They cannot just sit there and do nothing. That's why they hate defensive play to the extent that they do. They hate going against really defensive players, and they hate playing defensively. because it's to them it's just super boring having to play against. We're going to sit in our spawn and not play, and then our gameplay is trying to figure out how we break their defense. And then I want to like address like a comment he left on one of my videos on stream, because I feel like this would probably be the most appropriate place to do it.
Personnel's safety must remain your top priority.
Yeah, it's this one. I don't know why there's so many dislikes on it. I guess it's because people are offended that I'm talking about why a strategy is OP and they don't agree with it. But I mean, like, you agree with it by default because you spam it, so you know it's overpowered. Therefore, you aren't going to disagree that it's any more or less broken. But, yeah, Electronic T says you forget that we play against ourselves scrims. If defense on light side was so OP, we wouldn't win with dark side more of the time. I'm a Vader main, so I understand how we play against Chewbacca. I want to address that really quick. So, no, that's complete and utter bullshit. I also want to know which maps he's playing super defensively on. I mean, I already know which ones it is. It's those terrible garbage maps that he plays on. He likes to play the worst fucking maps in the game. That are, like, the most biased towards a side. Sulphur Fields is the strongest light side defensive map because you technically spawn in a camping spot. And it is like a map that's really good for Nyan, it's really good for a lot of characters. Even Chewbacca doesn't really mind Sulphur Fields all that much. But at the same time, pushing is impossible. You cannot push with light side against Imperial defense. It is literally impossible. Because what Vader will do is that he will proxy camp, saber throw, force choke, chip. They will probably play into Boba Fett, meaning that Boba Fett will also be chipping you throughout the game. And then you'll have Palpatine doing the same shit. So to say that light side defense is OP, just because Imperials can overcome that defense doesn't mean shit. And also, Electronic T camps with Imperials too. He camps with both sides, so I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to fucking hear it. He just knows that it's an overpowered strategy. And also, he's going to know how to combat that strategy more because he's the one that fucking spams it every other day. I'd hope you know how to combat camping to the degree that you do, because you sit in a tiny room for the majority of the maps that you play, or you sit in a camping spot in your fucking spawn. I'd hope you know how to combat that. You've probably been doing that for 3-4 years now, camping your spawns, camping in rooms, proxy camping certain areas. I hope so. And also, there are, like, maps where they will refuse to push, like, the early to mid-game with, dark side. So I don't want to hear that shit. Camping is the metal with light side because they are significantly weaker side. That is why, with the few exceptions, pushing in pipes. Which is also a lie. The reason why light side is preferable defensively is for two reasons. One of those reasons is that Vader is such an offensive juggernaut that there are only really two characters that want to be going head-to-head versus him at any point in time. And those characters that want to be doing that, Luke Skywalker usually doesn't want to do that because Luke's job is to target certain other characters and pressure them to death, including Darth Vader. But you rarely want to commit to a Vader because he's so strong offensively. Second reason, those Chewbacca easily get chipped. Wow, bad connection. Thank you for that. Those offensive characters, like Chewbacca, who's sitting in a camping spot, the reason why almost every single light side team that sits in a little room are guaranteed to have Chewbacca is because it's way easier to play against a Chewbacca that plays offensively because he's way easier to chip. Hence why, if you see offensive Rebel teams, they are almost always paired with Luke, because you have to. because the offensive pressure from certain characters are just going to be way too much to deal with. And he's acting like there are exceptions to it. And it's like there are no exceptions to it. Like, map-wise, it isn't really, like, an exception. There are maps where light side offense is terrible because there are certain spots where Bossk or Boba Fett is too good, and therefore those characters can take advantage of certain things too well. For example, you aren't going to really, like, you can push the light side on Ice Caves, but it is extremely difficult to do. It is extremely difficult to do, because the hill... You could have attacked somebody... Whatever. He's gonna die for no fucking reason, or he's gonna get distracted by some fucking retard. Watch. Yeah, you're bad. But... Ice Caves, that's like a god map for Bossk, because that fucking one spot, he just gets to do whatever he wants. And then the hill is pretty godlike for Orson and Boba. You usually don't want to fuck with people on that hill. And also, a lot of, like, the cover spots Bossk uses, you cannot power blast them in that. He's pretty much, you might as well be immune to power blast in a lot of those spots. Jawa Refuge is a little different, because Jawa Refuge is a pretty garbage map all around. Neither side really gets an advantage from anything, so it's kind of neutral ground. It's a terrible map for, like, Lando. I think it is, because, like, if he gets jumped by a bunch of regulars in the early game, he has to have a fucking person there with him, and if he just gets jumped, he's losing a lot of health, or he's getting marked by scout binoculars. Swamp Craft Site has probably the best defensive position for Rebels ever. It is a god area for Chewbacca, and I'm talking about the treehouse, by the way. A Swamp Craft Site is a god Lando map, 100%. That map, playing around Lando is a nightmare. And Sulphur Fields is just consistently probably my least favorite map, because it's the reason why you see Electronic T and Friends do the most consistent on that map is because that is the map that they have probably the most playtime on. Just that garbage, terrible fucking map. It is such a terrible fucking map. My boss is not gonna fucking do anything.
You are a fool to come here.
My boss is still not doing shit. My Emperor is dead for some reason. Either my Emperor quit, or my Emperor has, like, negative amount of points. Ooh. We don't want to be doing that. If boss loses here, that's completely his fault. Okay. Dune Sea Exchange is also horrific. Once you get past, like, the first 5 maps, a lot of the really horrific maps are kind of, like, out of the way. But then you get, like, the maps where Chewbacca is super good. A lot of those maps where I've been talking about, like, Chewbacca kind of sitting indoors, not doing anything. Rebel Depot's like that. Rebel Base is like that. Or not Dune Sea Exchange. This map, it's pretty much if you don't see Luke, Lando, Chewbacca, you are not going to see Rebels play offensively. It's just not going to happen. They are going to sit in a hallway and do nothing.
Focus all efforts on protecting our vital personnel, stormtroopers.
And then Imperial Base or whatever it is, that map is pretty much the same way. That map is a bit more lenient, though, because Lando is really good on that map, too. The only problem is that Vader is a god on that map. Because you can get upstairs and you can just beat the shit out of certain characters way easier. Impost is also a god on that map too, pretty much. At least like in the late game, where all he has to do is run in circles and tie. He is really good at just wasting time. But a lot of the gameplay just devolves into this boring bullshit. It's just not fun to play against at all. It just turns into just fucking garbage. I'm alright, dude. Lamenting on playstyles in Battlefront 1 mostly. And how, like, if anybody ever tries to justify camping, it's never going to be anything. It's something that I can easily, like, break down and be like, yeah, this is bullshit. The Rebels not being able to play offensively on certain maps, yeah. But who's the fucking one picking those piece of shit maps? Sulfur Fields, fucking garbage. Or you pick maps like Swamp Crash that are so good defensively, then why would you ever fucking push? Because, like, when you push, the Imperials have, like, the ship, and their spawn is, like, a fucking haven for camping. Why would you ever push when you got the fucking trees? You know what I mean? I know it's kind of, like, sounding like I'm hypocritical, because but I'm like, in their perspective, they're kind of like, well, why would we ever play offensively? Because this spot is so good defensively, why would we ever move? And it's the same thing with the Imperials, because if you try to push with Rebels, they'll do the same shit. They'll do the exact same shit. They will, and it's guaranteed to happen 100% of the time. It is fucking guaranteed.
Shifting ammunition.
Okay. I don't think he makes that soldier. Yeah, I don't think so. I know Lando's probably still down here. This is the worst turret ever. I kind of pushed towards this Vader. Look at my... I'm done. I don't know who the fuck took away Emperor from me. It's this guy who's 0-7 and he's fucking garbage and useless. That's who. Picks Emperor and dies immediately. Doesn't push. Camps to spawn. Doesn't fucking do anything. Gotta love it. Gotta love garbage players who sit in their spawn and then get annihilated. And I'm not gonna push because I'm the worst offensive character in the fucking game. Worse than... Fuck am I supposed to do? You see, this team right here, super good offensively. But you cannot tell me that defense is not OP for both sides. I'm not saying that you can't ever break it. It's just the way that you break through it is so fucking restrictive that it's almost impossible to do it without using a very, very specific playstyle. And it's restrictive in other ways. My Vader's camping my spawn. I fucking hate this. I'm just gonna leave this. I'm not dealing with Vader who camps my fucking spawn. That's just ridiculous. Literally refused to move. Literally refused to move, and he just sat there and watched Boba Fett just get killed. What a fucking useless piece of shit. And if I take Vader away, what's going to happen? I'm gonna get triple teamed, and then idiot Emperor who doesn't block, doesn't use abilities, light attacks, or runs in a circle all game is gonna fucking do shit. It's not fucking worth, like, at all. I'd rather just find a different game where I'm not on a map that's like super OP for rebels, and I don't have teammates who camp my fucking spawn and don't do anything. Yeah, might as well just use this. Cause I see like 9 of them every single game now. I think I just got in the same fucking game. Is there a party up right now? 3-man. I'm surprised that Leo's playing this shit. What's up, fat nerds? Yeah, I do. I'm streaming right now. Yeah. Your queue is full right now, but I'm still in the queue. Do you need a teammate? No. Good. I usually don't like to play with people outside of my group. Just because my playstyle really doesn't line up with anybody else's. Because everybody plays this game so fucking defensively, it makes me want to fucking puke. Oh, legit, you're in this party? Might stream Fall Guys later. Cause fuck it. If I deal with stupid people in that game, I could at least troll them. Fuck it, I'm getting on a different game.